Hey, and welcome to 20 Minutes Self Development with me, your host, Tam Dillon. This podcast is all about focused, effective self development, specifically for healing practitioners, space holders, and intuitives who want to do the work behind the work. In each episode, I'll introduce you to a key concept, reflection, or tool that's designed to strengthen your inner capacity and support the integrity of your practice. In just 20 minutes, we'll go beyond surface level growth and into the real work that makes you a stronger, steadier, and more embodied practitioner. Let's get into today's episode. Well, hey, and welcome to this week's episode. So just this past weekend, we had Be the Impact Day, which in all honesty, I'd never heard of this day before until a couple of days ago. I think it's fabulous when I went and looked what the day was all about. And it really fitted so beautifully with the larger theme that I'm going to be chatting about over the next couple of weeks. So I was quite excited for the alignment. So I'm going to be chatting a bit about that. I did discuss the day and how you can be an impact in my Questions Practitioners Ask series, which released yesterday. So go have a look at that episode. So yeah, Be the Impact Day. This day has recently just come past, and it really is one of those lovely days that gets us to stop and ask the questions. How can I make a difference in the world? How can I be an impact? Especially for us as practitioners and healers and guides and medicine people. That's a very common question for us. Because if we're honest, if we're walking this path, if you are someone who's called to guide or to hold space, to be of service, you very likely carry that as a deep ache. I know for me personally that's very much how it felt. Expressed in my newsletter that went out recently. I chatted about how being, I think, like 6 or 7, and feeling this huge weight like deep inside of me of like, oh, I've got to fix the world, I've got to make an impact, I've got to leave a mark, I've got to make a difference. And for a little child, that's heavy, man. that's a heavy weight to carry. And that's, I definitely know from working with other medicine people and practitioners, meeting some amazing ones along my journey, that this is a common thing for a lot of us, that deep, weighted, achy, like, oh, I've got to do something. I really need to, like, be of service. I need to be an impact. I need to make a change in the world. I need to make a difference. To in a sense, ease the collective ache of the world, because we look at the world around us and we're like, wow, the world really isn't the way that it should be. How do we fix that? How do we make that better? How do we ease the pain and the suffering that we see around us? Even if it is just in small, simple ways. So days like this really get us to take a look at that, because the day is predominantly about making an impact with small, simple steps. It's not about going out and changing the world in one day. It's about how can you make small, simple differences. So simple acts of kindness, which just really makes the whole thing feel a whole lot less overwhelming. In all honesty, and that. There really is. It's almost like with that weight and that achy feeling of like, I need to be of service. I need to make a change. I need to make an impact. That urgency. Wanting to fix things that. Back when I was 6 or 7, I didn't even fully understand the things that I was trying to fix. I just knew that they weren't right and they needed to change. But it's very much for a lot of us, it's wanting to do something that matters. And again, it's even if it's just in small, simple ways, even just making a small little difference. And for me, having that from a young age, I carried that for many, many years, as a very heavy weight, as a burden, for a good portion. I very much let it shape who I've become, though. Stepping onto the path of being a reader, wanting to aid others, to guide others, to help them, to be of service. That really was what got me onto the path. I just wanted to do all of it for everyone, for everything at all at once. Wave my magic wand and everything is just fabulous. And that made me take on too much back in my early days. That very much blurred the lines between what was mine to hold and what was never mine to carry in the first place. So I really want to chat about this in more depth in today's episode. About the difference between showing up and trying to hold the entire world on your own, which we can't do. Okay, so lesson one: you can't hold the whole world by yourself. We're not supposed to. So we're also going to have a look at how we stay aligned with our calling without burning ourselves out. Because for a lot of us, because we feel this weight so intensely, we do too much and we do burn ourselves out. Absolutely, yes. Have been there, have done that. And I also want to introduce you to a fabulous map that has honestly shifted quite a lot for me. And I stumbled upon this lovely little ecosystem map a couple of weeks back, and it's Deepa Iyer's social change ecosystem map. It's essentially a simple framework, and a framework that really for me has helped me to, like, in like picture in picture format, simple format. It has shown me where and how I can fit in, and why it's not my job to do all of it, that there's a system to creating impact and creating change and making movements and leaving the world a better place. There's a structure that you need to go with it, and you can't be the whole structure by yourself. Lesson number 2: you can't be the whole structure by yourself. So let's start there. This fabulous map, the social change ecosystem, it names 10 roles that people play within movements for social justice, change, a lot of nonprofits. And if you're listening to this episode, you're very likely playing one of those roles. If you're someone that I know quite well, you're definitely playing one of those roles. There's healers, which obviously that's an obvious one for us. The storytellers, the guides, the builders, caregivers, disruptors, frontline responders, the visionaries, the weavers, and the experimenters. So these are the 10 roles that sit inside Deepa's system. And each role has its own function. Each role carries a very specific purpose. And for us as medicine people, each role would carry a specific type of medicine. And none of them stand in isolation. Like you can't, when you look at the visual of the map, it makes so much sense, where you're like, oh, okay, so there's actually like a whole system that fits here. And it's not just one thing standing in isolation doing it all on its own. And as I looked at the visual, I was like, it was one of those wonderful little penny drop moments where you're just like, oh, life makes a whole lot more sense now. And it was almost like a relief in a sense. And as much as I've learned over the years, I can't do it all on my own. I can't fix the world by myself. Change starts with the self. Small, simple impacts is how we do it. But when I saw this, it really helped to ease that last little bit of weight that I'd honestly still lingered over the years. Um, and not because it told me what to do, but because it showed me that I don't have to do everything, which, okay, I knew, but I was still like, but there's all these things that still need to get done. Like, how do we get there? Um, you know, being a practitioner doesn't mean being the entire system. It's impractical. It will demolish a person within days if they tried that. Um, Really, it means you're finding where one naturally belongs and standing there fully, like being the role, embody the role, encompassing that role. Um, for me, gosh, I've definitely seen where I've stepped into a couple of these roles. I've absolutely lived as the healer for a while. Um, Definitely the guide with the readings, storyteller. Um, Gosh, there's a weaver. There's quite a few little ones where I fit in, and I can see how I've kind of shifted between the roles, and sometimes I've sat in two roles at the same time, but different reasons, different seasons, different um, parts of me have stood in these different roles. So depending on who I was serving and how, where I was at and what was going on for me, where was I in my own journey, uh, and that's absolutely, it's natural. It makes sense. It makes so much sense. Um, the roles are supposed to shift. They're not supposed to be static, one size fits all. Okay, well, this is who you are for the rest of your life. No, you can ebb and flow between them, depending on um, your energetic capacity, what season you're in personally, where and how you're um, best going to be of service. And through this, we move and we evolve and we adjust and we adapt and we do all the great things. But I think the difference is knowing which role is yours right now, or which roles, because sometimes we do stand in more than one, and that's probably I think the only thing you really need to know is like, what is your role right now? What season are you in right now? Knowing where your gifts flow with ease, what makes sense for you, and I would say, just as importantly, knowing what isn't yours to carry, what aren't your roles, what roles can't you fulfill right now. So there is definitely some self-reflection and um, having some good, honest self-awareness is helpful to ensure that you're, not trying to be all the roles all at the same time. Um, because when you don't know, you're like, what isn't yours to carry, the weight really, it becomes unbearable. And I speak definitely from personal experiences. There's been multiple times, especially in the early stages, especially when I was younger. I'd look at the world around me and I'd be like, wow, the world is in turmoil, and I've got to fix it. I've got to make it better. And that weight was crushing at some days. And I know for many of you, it's a similar experience, that crushing weight of, oh, I've got to fix this. I've got to make it better. Because, and I'm using the words fixing and making better very loosely, because obviously we don't fix and make better. But it's ingrained in who we are. It's a natural part of who we are. But when we start saying yes to everything, we feel responsible for fixing it all. And we bring that weight becomes heavier and it becomes unbearable. We land up spreading ourselves too thin, trying to cover all the bases, cover all the roles, trying to be everything for everyone all at once, all at the same time. And eventually you either you burn out or you disappear into the overwhelm. And I want you to say this as clearly as you can. What are you not required to carry? What isn't yours? Really, like, look at that for yourself. This really helps in understanding your true energetic capacity. Because sometimes we are tired and we are exhausted and we're like, oh, I can't get to things because I'm just overwhelmed at capacity. And a lot of times we're putting off responsibilities we should be getting to. But it's because we're inundating ourselves with things that we're not supposed to be inundating ourselves with in the first place. So really ask yourself that question, what are you not required to carry? Or what isn't yours? And there really is such a beautiful strength in knowing your place, within the whole, within an ecosystem. Firstly, because it makes everything feel a lot less isolating. We're not islands. And it doesn't make you small either. Just because you're fitting into one role doesn't mean like, oh, my purpose is a whole lot less. It actually makes you a whole lot more effective. It makes you more impactful. It's like being in a village, man. It's like being in the perfect little village, in a real functioning village. There are different people with different responsibilities, different skill sets, different callings, different purposes. Someone grows food, someone tends the sick, someone watches the children, someone builds homes, and someone holds story and ritual and memory. If one person tried to do all of that, they would collapse. You can't be the whole village. You need to be part of a village and find, where do you fit in with the village. When each person stands in their role, the whole thing works. It breathes, it lives, it thrives. That's where Deepa's map, this is really what her map reminds me of. I can really say that it gave me that last little bit of external validation to stop trying to be everything for everyone. And I know this, I know better, and I work really, really hard to not do that. But there's still that, like, the world is in turmoil. I need to do something about it. Like, how do I do this? So that overwhelm, if you will, is probably what still sits there some days. You're in that visual map of, hey, here's a picture where you can pick where you want to fit in. Which one of these colors here is a circle that you want to fit inside today? The simplicity of it, I think, is really what drew me to it. And the practicality and the clarity that comes with her system. I think that's probably the perfect word, clarity. It truly, truly did bring some great clarity, because your clarity lets you focus your energy where it's going to matter most. Like I said earlier, when we know what's not ours to carry, we can check in with our energy capacity correctly and honestly. With clarity, we know where is our energy going to be most efficient, where's the best place for it to go. So here's what I would like you to reflect on for the week ahead. Ask yourself the questions. What is yours to hold this season? For the next week, for the next month, for the season, what is yours to hold? What can you release back into the collective? What is not yours to hold? What can you release back into the collective? And what one small, simple human act can you take this week that expresses your current role? That's it. That's your homework. That is all the homework that Tam has for you this week. It's super simple. Don't overthink it. Lean into it. Embrace it. It might be writing something that needs to be said. It may be calling someone and simply just listening without trying to fix. It may be building a structure in your practice that makes your life easier or reduces your stress. It doesn't have to be huge or massive or sparkly or impressive. It just has to be real. That is it. That is your prerequisite. It has to be real. And if you're feeling like you need support with this, you're figuring out your role, aligning your practice around it, perhaps even adjusting your language, your offers to reflect where you are. That's exactly what I do in my mentoring. With that, we're not trying to guess or figure it out. We'll map it out for you clearly. That I'm available weekly and fortnightly, and as always, grounded sessions. And if you want to go deeper into this fabulous social change ecosystem model, if you want to explore all 10 roles with me, see how they function in real life, unpack the overlaps, resistance, tensions, patterns, all the good things, I'm going to be doing that over the next couple of weeks in my school community, Gifted and Called. So do absolutely grab yourself a membership and come be part of that conversation. We're going to have some amazing lives and some really great content coming out around that. And I want to leave you with this. The simple reminder: you don't have to do it all. You only have to do what's yours. Stand there and let the rest be held by others. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of 20-Minute Self-Development. If today's reflections were helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where we'll explore another tool or principle to support you in doing your own work as a healing practitioner. If you're looking for deeper support, my practitioner mentoring sessions are designed to help you refine your presence, integrate your self-work, and build a practice that's both ethical and sustainable. You can also visit the Tam Dillon Academy to explore all current programs and resources built specifically for space holders like you. Until next time, keep showing up for your own work, and remember, real growth is built on consistency, integrity, and self-responsibility.